Hi, my name is Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your #1 source for real estate advice online. And with my channel, I try to teach anybody and everybody about the big world of real estate investing, specifically for the small scale investor like myself and beginner. And we're talking about anything and everything related to real estate as it really is, and not how it is portrayed on the commercials and infomercials, I guess I should say, and the channels out there that portray it to be such a great thing and fun all the time without any problems. Because actually there's more problems than there is successes, but the successes are very well worth it, and that's why I'm here. I'm trying to teach you what I learn as I learn it, and also some of the stuff that I learned in the past and that have worked for me. So in today's video, I want to talk about negotiation. I actually made a video, it was actually still video here recently, which I'm going to publish soon, which is of a radio show that I broadcast the other day at my radio station. As you all know, I'm actually a radio host here in my local town in Savannah, Georgia. They graciously gave me a 1-hour talk show, 1-hour a week talk show here on the station where I talk about real estate. The show is called Real Estate Real Talk, and I will provide the link to the station in the bottom of this video so you can actually listen to it as it's being broadcast live every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. You can listen to it from anywhere in the world. And also record the shows and put them later right here on YouTube as well as on the station's website. And so I did a video specifically about negotiation. So let's talk about that today. The reason I decided to make a video about negotiation is basically because I have problems negotiating things. And I'm at the point where last year and the year before I bought a lot of tax sale foreclosures. If any of you guys have listened to me for a long time, I have always been involved with tax sale foreclosures a lot. And in the last 2 years, I've actually purchased a whole bunch of them. And we're at the point where we have barred redemption rights. A couple of them are in the quiet title process. So after all the legal is done, and it's partially done, I'm trying to sell off these properties to make some profit so I can improve the 1 or 2 that I'm going to keep and make into rentals, specifically Airbnb rentals, which is what I do for my main cash cow income. So this is where we are, and I'm trying to sell them. And I found myself to be pretty much stuck, thrown against the wall, whatever you want to call it, in terms of negotiating. And this is unusual because I'm usually not a very shy person. I do shy away in a lot of social situations, but in terms of business, I'm not very shy, so I can definitely make my demands be heard, and I can push my way through, and especially push my price through. But with negotiation, I've been kind of baffled because I'm working through a couple of proxies. I'm working through a broker who listed my property, one of my properties, on the MLS, and I'm also working with real estate agents from the buyer's side, and sometimes I work with the buyers directly. And I've realized that there's actually a lot more to all of this negotiation thing than I thought that there was to begin with. And so I decided to go ahead and research this a little bit and try to educate myself on how to become a good negotiator. For my own benefit, of course, because we all want to get the most money for our properties when we sell them. So when I did the Google search on how to negotiate, I guess I suddenly felt not so stupid anymore, because apparently there's a whole body of knowledge and academia and business knowledge and everything else that is involved with negotiation. And I kind of felt baffled because I actually have an MBA, and it's actually called a higher level MBA that I got many, many years ago at Wesleyan College in Macon, Georgia, and it is actually called an executive MBA. And I was trying to remember if we ever learned anything at all about negotiation. Now, we learned accounting, we learned finance, we learned about marketing, we learned a lot of things, but negotiation wasn't one of them. And I'm telling myself, I'm like thinking, why is that? You know, that's like one of the most elemental things you needed for everything. You need to be able to negotiate your bedtime, the kids' bedtime with them. You need to be able to negotiate whether or not you can get a discount on something. You need to be able to negotiate with the cable company to see if they can give you a better price on your subscription for cable service. I mean, it's just everywhere. Not even talking about real estate here. You're gonna need a car. You're gonna negotiate the price on the car. I mean, there's so many instances. And what I discovered is that pretty much everything is negotiable. Pretty much everything. And that we here in the Western nation, right here in the United States, obviously other Western nations as well, are very apprehensive, I guess, about negotiating. It's almost like if somebody asks you to negotiate with them about a price that you set, it's almost offensive. So when I first started hosting Airbnb guests, a lot of the guests from other countries have asked me to negotiate the price down, and I'm like, I felt offended. I'm like, why? What's wrong with my price? Can't you just pay my price? What's wrong with that? And then I realized, wait a minute, you know, their cultural background is completely different from mine. They were not raised, you know, I was raised in Germany. I've been here in the United States for almost 30 years, and we're just not, we're not really negotiators here. I mean, some of us are, we're good hagglers, some of us, but for the most part, people just pay the price that's set, and that's expected, and that's something that's normal. So I wanted to dive into a little bit more about negotiating. Now, I've discussed this in a little bit more detail in my radio show, which is about an hour long, but I realized that there's just a whole lot more. So I'm going to try to do a couple of videos about negotiating and some of the things that I've learned, and I'm trying to condense it, do a little bit of Cliff's Notes of the research that I found. A lot of the information that I've learned comes from a book called Never Split the Difference. I'm a big fan of the book. It's written by Chris Voss, and he is or was a hostage negotiator for the FBI, one of the main hostage negotiators for the FBI in the United States, also an educator. I'm actually going to try to see if I can reach him to interview him on my radio show. Wishful thinking, but you know what? Here you go. I can negotiate to see if he can come on my radio show, right? Using his own techniques that he explains in this book, hopefully. So we'll see if that works. Actually, that's a great idea. Anyways, but with this video, because we've been going for a little while, I want to at least share you one little thing that you can use today. And it's kind of the goal for my videos, to bring to you these little nuggets and little bits and pieces that even if you don't remember anything I say in my hundreds of videos or even in this video, you can at least pick apart and take away one little piece that you can use that maybe sticks in your brain and that might be useful in your life in the future. So in his book, he talks about this one method called acronym bargaining. And it's important right here to distinguish that negotiating and bargaining are not the same thing. Negotiating is a big process. It has to do with with psychology, with assessing the other party, learning them, trying to build a rapport, basically having an empathy bridge built to the other co-negotiator, the person that's negotiating with you on the other side. And so there's a lot of things involved in that. But in the end of his book, he actually describes that when you get down to actually talking about numbers, which is a lot of times when I get involved, because real estate transactions are very much impersonal and you don't actually hardly ever get to meet the other counterpart of yours, you can use this acronym method. And it's basically very simple. And I'm going to talk about these steps, see if that works for you. So when you're trying to negotiate a price with somebody, the first thing that you need to do, you need to set your target price in your mind. And that's kind of like the price that you want to get, that you ideally would be happy with. And then what you'll do is you will offer, and there's a whole philosophy about whether or not you should be the first person to offer something or let the other person make the first move. That's another topic for another video. But your first offer should be 65% of your target price. So take your target price, calculate what's 65% of that, and offer that to them. And what that is, that's actually a very low number, obviously. And what that will accomplish is you basically setting an extreme anchor, is what he calls in his book. And what he describes in his book is the background of psychology, that if you set an anchor, a specific number, that the counterpart's target price will sort of kind of adjust towards your anchor. It's a psychology thing. He explains in his book exactly how that happens in psychology terms even that I don't even know. But I'm trying to apply this to my life, so I'm gonna like simple it down for myself even, because I'm gonna be watching this video as well to remind myself what I read. So what that extreme anchor will then produce in your counterpart is a fight or flight response, basically, because they're basically going to get shocked. They're like, what? That's way too low, you know. And so then what you'll do after that, you give 3 raises to that extreme anchor of 65% and you're going to basically increase the 65% to 85%, 95%, and then 100% of your target price. So you three raises basically. But you're going to take your time between those 3 raises, and in between you basically, and the reason we're doing these 3 raises is because you want to show your counterpart that they're kind of trying to squeeze everything they can out of you to get the best price for them, because you want to make them feel good. It gives them basically a boost of their self-esteem that they're really getting everything that they could. And also the reason we're going to increase the raises are decreasingly higher. So from 65% to 85% is 20%, 85 to 95 is 10%, and 95 to 100% is only 5% raise. So, but you're still getting to your target price in the end. So you basically want to show your counterpart that are squeezing you to the breaking point. Even though it's only a psychological thing, you already had the target price in your mind the whole time. You're trying to give them the feeling that they're getting everything that they can out of you. And the next thing that you want to do is you want to actually pepper basically your raises with different things that have to do with empathy and of different sayings with each offer. So basically you can use all kinds of psychological methods such as loss aversion, reciprocity of something that you want to give them. So basically if you offer them something, you obviously want something in return. It's another psychological tactic that is used in negotiation. And you can say things like, trying the best that I can, but I really just can't do this. I'm really pushing hard, and you want to give them empathy, saying that their product or whatever it is that your product is the best one, that you understand their situation, whichever, if you're a buyer or seller, either way, doesn't matter. And you're basically going to pepper everything with the most empathy that you possibly can, and hopefully it's sincere too. So when you finally get to your 100%, and the answer is still no, your 100% of your target price, what you can do is then offer a final non-round number. That's another tip that I've picked up basically. And that basically means that if your target price, let's say for a piece of property, is $100,000, you offer them a property that you maybe want to buy. You offer them $98,756.27. And first off, that's probably going to make them laugh. It's going to make you very uncomfortable to offer a price like that too, because it kind of seems ridiculous, right? And but what that actually means is that shows, or that is supposed to show, that you actually put some effort into thinking about what the number should be, and that you've made your calculations very carefully, and that you've considered everything, and it is really the very last bottom number that you can give them. And hopefully they'll come back then and then state that your target price of 100%, $100,000, let's say in this case, is acceptable. And the final thing that you can do, if it is not acceptable and they're still countering you in any way or form, you can, if, like say you're the seller of a specific property, then you can throw in a non-monetary item to show that you're at your total limit. So this is what happens a lot of times when sellers are selling houses, and they're saying this is the price, the bottommost price we can offer, but you know what? We're going to throw in a flat screen TV for your new house for the living room. Now, the buyer may not need a flat screen TV. They may already have one, don't care about having one. So they're going to say, well, whatever. But you know, heck, why not take it? It's free, right? But it basically is another psychological tactic to show that you, as the seller, are at your absolute topmost limit. And I'm going to use that here in the future. Hopefully I can figure this out somehow. Maybe not a flat screen TV in my case, maybe a month of free lawn service or something like that. You know, I can figure out something. So that is basically the summary of the acronym bargaining negotiating tactic. It's very much simple down, so please don't just take my word for it. I would very much recommend that you do your own research and you maybe read even that book that I was mentioning. I'm not in no way affiliated with the book. I don't get any kickbacks if you do or if you don't. But if you like this video, and I'm gonna try to make more videos about negotiating, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button there and subscribe to my channel. Share the video if you think it's useful. I'd love to hear your comments, suggestions, inputs, feedback, anything good or bad. Just leave it in the comments section of this video. And make sure you go to my website. It's at the bottom of this video. Subscribe to my newsletter there. This is where you get all the updates and the good stuff like the coupons for my ebooks. And make sure you subscribe there. And I hope to see you investing successfully very soon. Thank you.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.